Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, this is my circus. These are my monkeys.
Hi!
I am your host for this evening. Wish this was gin.
We're not sorry, and we do it again.
Okay, fine.
Great episode.
I'm done. I thought I had it. And then I looked at these cherub-faced fucking pieces of shit. And I went, no, I can't.
Don't disappoint us.
Okay, I won't. I'll do this. I'll get it together. Hello, it's I, Praxis Descends.
Praxis Descends.
It's me, Izzy, aka Praxis
Descends.
Here to bring you
Praxis
Descends.
a second helping of
Praxis
Star Trek
Descends.
Iskandar goodness. I could just ban myself. And that solves all my problems. Yeah. Well, it's been great. Kath's GMing now. I shall send you my notes immediately. Anyway,
I don't need that.
welcome to... No, that's only funny if you can see my notes and it's like, you go, what?
Oh, actually, to be fair, yeah, I suppose having written game notes forever in my life, you're right.
We are the crew of the USS Iskandar, and unfortunately, we are here to entertain you for the next some hours. Hello, people in the chat. Lovely to see you here tonight. We're very sorry, except for Roomba, who's never sorry.
Praxis Descends.
I hate being alive.
This was going so well, like 20
it.
minutes ago. Like,
Unfortunately,
Izzy was like, I know what I'm doing. Responsible conversations,
It
chill
lies.
vibes.
Lies.
And then...
hang on. I just realised. Hang on. Just take my headphones off. And that way I can't get thrown off whenever Mike and Roomba go, pickles, whenever I'm trying to do something.
We've not been saying pickles.
I'm going to keep talking, and if they talk over me, that's their business. And now I can watching Roomba lip reading to see if they go, pickles! No, I'm hoisted by my own petard.
Do they think we've been saying pickles this whole time?
What's the sense?
Pickles Descends.
Also, I should check my Discord messages while that's happening. I've been called a small evil bird by people I love, and I'm furious.
It's not even us.
It's not even you. Anyway, we're the crew of the USS Iskandar, and we're here to entertain you. Said that. We are Kath, Izzy, Emily, and Mike, pointing to all the corners of the screen so that I point at no one when I say the names correctly. Let's see if I can do this. Kath, Izzy, Emily, Mike.
From my perspective, that was actually accurate.
Yeah, that wasn't bad, that.
And technically, from Mike's perspective, very accurate, because I'm pointing at him.
It's true.
So...
Although from my perspective, you're pointing at me, so...
Yeah, no, I was right sometimes, but not...
That means we can point at the audience whenever we want. Will you figure out what's going on with the facility?
Okay.
We fucking won't.
I'm going to start running all my episodes kind of like I'm a kids' TV presenter. Hey kids, who do we think is sneaking up on Adam and Nadari?
Ninjas.
Is it
It's
you?
behind you!
No, it isn't.
Yes!
But that leads me, I was going to say not nicely, uglily, in a particularly janky fashion, to what happened last week, which is that the I want to say crew of the USS Iskandar, but not in the slightest. We were paired down to the Captain Athan, former and very disgraced chief engineer Ensign Adam Strange, and his much more important boyfriend, Lieutenant Samuel Cayce, Chief Science Officer of Iskandar, were traveling across space to go to their various destinations. But the most important thing they had to do was to drop off Lieutenant Cayce at a space station near his home system. Well, in his home system, the Castor system. Castor 10 being, as it is, a huge gas giant that has a very unstable sort of orbit and has been known to be degaussing an awful lot of terrible radiation for the past, ages. Gas giants are awful and we shouldn't think about them. Stop thinking about them. But unfortunately, in the process of dropping off Lieutenant Cayce at the Castor 10 research station, the three of them got a bit stuck with their poor, benighted security officer, Ensign Carnell, who is still alive.
Is he though?
Yes.
Definitely alive.
Definitely alive.
Is he though?
Well, he is now, but like, who was to say at the end of the session? I'm just giving you an update. Update on Carnell, alive.
For now.
Congratulations.
You did it. You haven't killed your red shirt yet.
Have we killed any red shirt?
No.
Oh.
It's the stupidest thing.
No, we've had a couple.
When I was writing the session, I was looking at my notes going, I have to indicate that this is not a foe to be reckoned with and must be taken seriously. I was like, I'm literally in a setting where
there's an entire job.
There is an entire trope, and so I did.
A profession.
A whole profession, and Carnell is currently alive. During which time the party discovered that the research station was fucked.
I believe that's the technical term.
That is the technical term of it. And no, Hyperion Carnell did not get dwarfed because Carnell had never once spoken of his combat prowess to anyone and was just getting on. And actually did all right because he got taken by the enemy at the same time as Lieutenant Samuel Cayce, thus separating the party in two and leading Captain Athan and Ensign Strange to be pained, outraged, confused, and horrified by what was going on, as it seemed that their party members were taken through the ceiling by mutants?
Mutant ninjas.
Mutant ninjas. Which is just not how you want to be living your life.
Mutant scavenger ninjas.
Scaveningers.
Scavengers. Sounds like it should be a slur.
Yeah.
It is. That's their word. You can't use it.
Yeah. I think you're banned from using that word.
Yeah, sorry. Banned. And when we left them, Lieutenant Cayce had been separated from poor Ensign Carnell, who sounded like he was not having a great time. But most importantly, if you can hear him having a bad time, he's having a time at all.
He's having a living time.
And Lieutenant Cayce was having a strange encounter with some of the mutant ninjas, being as he attempted to communicate with them, took some things from a room that he'd been locked in, and discovered that lock that screen. Now that's fixed everything. Someone get me a post-it note at
packet
once.
of biscuits.
But the most unsettling point of all being that during numerous times on the station, all three of the crew of the Iskandar were exposed to a sort of very dense, thick fog that seemed to be piped through the ventilation system, and whatever was in it was definitely now in their lungs. And when last we saw them, this was definitely even getting her previously on, because it will end with the shot of Lieutenant Cayce looking at the security panel that he found that indicates several things happening on the screen, and seeing Captain Athan and Ensign Strange not even being snuck up on, about to be dropped upon by two of these awful, frightening mutant ninjas. And so we're going to start straight away with the two of you rolling me some sort of initiative checks.
Traditionally notice.
Notice, yep.
Wait, what is my
Numbers.
Sucks.
Falling on the Floor 2.
-1.
Oh,
Hey!
gotta get my notes up. Well, mercifully, it doesn't matter so much that Athan rolled so terribly, because they definitely got, as it were, got the drop on you both. So you haven't lost out. But what I will say is, for the disparity between the two, as the awful howl fills the corridor that you heard from before, both of you obviously jump out your skin, because it's the most terrifying thing to suddenly be right behind you. But it is Captain Athan who is knocked to the floor by one of them dropping down, and Ensign Strange
Cries.
Ensign Strange in that moment gives silent, tiny Scottish thanks to the bullying of the security jocks, that in that moment he rolls and goes to the side and thinks, how did I do that? Oh God. Oh, I'm so
I've never been so glad to have so much practice at being jumped out from a fucking vent.
Unfortunately, of course, you still managed to go, ah!
Oh yeah, the actual response is
Somewhere, Atticus flips another burger. Attaboy.
But what that will do is, in that moment, it will give you the advantage on what goes next, which is Adam Strange. Two of these twisted things have dropped from the ceiling, and unlike in the first room, the way the security lights illuminate this corridor, you can see more of the devastation that's wrapped around their faces. You can't tell how much of it is injury or how much of it is, for want of a better word, natural, but it is uncanny. And as they open their mouths to make this awful noise, you don't know how much of it is coming from them or how much of it is just reverberating around the corridor, but it's not good.
panic, phasers, anything. What? I'm gonna try and shoot them, even though I'm crap at shooting.
You may attempt to shoot. I'd love it if you attempted to shoot.
-2.
The shot goes off, but it pings. It pings from the plating around this space, and you smell the singe of even a stun phaser bolt hitting something loose and exposed. In fact, Mike, roll me a d6.
You accidentally shoot your
I got a
boyfriend.
3.
No, on a 3. That's fine. It pings off harmlessly, but it is not going to do it. Captain Athan.
Sorry.
No, Captain Athan, you're on -2.
Yes.
So what's going to happen is, if you could roll me an athletics, or one of them is going to try and basically thump you. So
Opposed fight check.
it could be an opposed fight check, but since you were on the floor, it was whether or not you wanted to fight or evade.
I will go for an opposed fight check because I'm better at it.
Completely reasonable.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't terrible on the dice. That is a 4 on the dice. Well, four in total. Sorry, I only got a +1. So
that is they got a +5.
I assume I will take a stress box then.
Indeed, as it doesn't seem to be a particularly targeted sort of strike, but having dropped you, the first response is to bring down the hammer fist, as it were, which delivers you a pretty unpleasant glancing blow. But also, it is effectively your turn. You have been thumped. You are on the floor, but you are not dazed beyond the surprise that you are in.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of do a. This would be sort of a fight melee action, but as a flavor of Athan is going to try to sort of push them back and like ram a phaser in the gut and try to shoot them.
Yeah, that feels to me like still fight because
Yeah.
you're not trying to shoot someone. You're trying.
It is not a ranged attack. It is a scramble, and the phaser is just participating in my.
It's just happy to be there.
Go ahead.
Snake eyes on the dice, so that is a 3.
Well, considering they got a critical failure, I will let you narrate to me what you want to do. I'm not treating this like a big fight sequence. It's the start of episode flavor fight.
Yeah, so I figure like Athan's been knocked down. They go to bring the big heavy blow down initially, and like it's a big ass blow, and Athan like rolls and gets clipped by it, so the impact, but hasn't been completely face smushed by this blow.
Face smushed, technical term.
Yeah, and then manages to sort of push herself up, like drives a shoulder into this thing's chest and brings up the phaser as she drives them back, coming up and smacks them with a stun and knocks them down and out.
I'm happy to say that you basically just take them straight out the fight.
Yep.
Captain, because you're still on the sidelines there, Strange, because you were able to roll to the side. You were briefly in that state of going, oh no, the captain, oh god, this is the worst thing. The captain's going to die, and I'm going to be stuck here in this corridor on my own. And what do I do? But Captain Athan proves her mettle as a Starfleet captain and goes, I've been knocked down and hit in the face. I hate it.
But I get up again.
Anyway,
and I'm going to keep her down.
She dumps that tub.
Athan is actually pretty good in combat. She's just, I think this is the first time she's been in a fight in the game.
You're welcome.
Oh, Borg, but yeah.
The Borg weren't so much a fight as an encounter.
Yes.
They were environmental.
Yes.
And what you will notice is that in the bright flash of blue that erupts from Captain Athan's phaser, the second of these things is already scrabbling for the cable that it came down upon and seems to be looking to make a breakaway.
Okay.
And since you are the one most equipped to respond, Ensign Strange, you notice this happening.
Do I encourage them to leave, or do I go, fuck you, buddy, you're not going anywhere?
It's better than what I thought you might do.
What did she think of the other option was? I'm here for other terrible options.
Don't try to go with them to go to find your boyfriend.
Oh.
Carnell. Should I not have revealed that yet?
Izzy, that was going to be later in the session.
Boomer, I'm so sorry.
We talked about this.
My boyfriend and a guy I know from work.
Your worst nightmare.
Shoot the guy, shoot the cable, shoot the guy, shoot the cable. I'm going to roll a dice just to decide which of those I do, to be honest.
We have a dude, at least. We do have a dude, but yeah.
We do have a dude. Okay. Cable it is. Let's go for...
With the cable shot, he then kills us both.
Yes, if you critically fail in shooting this cable, the cable will explode, raining cable on everyone.
Yeah, I am thinking, is there a smart boy way I can go for this cable that isn't just try and fucking shoot it? Is it... So this guy is attached to this cable, right?
No. He came down off the cable. He's going back to the cable.
Oh, it's dangling out the ceilings.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I thought it was attached to it. I was about to use that to climb back up with it like hooked onto him still.
You should imagine that some of them are a lot more strength and athletics based than technical based. He's just gonna climb it with his arm strength.
Sure, but I was expecting like a clipped onto a harness or a belt or sort of job.
Not in this instance.
Not in this instance. Okay, so actually there's no point me shooting the cable. I will just shoot the dude.
Make me a
Because straight the
phases.
cable is going to do nothing.
Make me a phases.
4.
4. Let me athletics this. So you succeed by 2, which I'm gonna say is you basically do the classic Starfleet shoulder ding.
Yeah.
That and it spins back, grabs hold of the cable. It seems that climbing back up is going to be difficult, so of course it is now clipping it back onto itself, but with a very sort of practiced ease.
I see.
But again, we're back to Athan. You shot one, another one
Yep.
is trying to make a break for it.
Okay, it's focusing on making a break for it, but like, yeah, no. If nothing else, one we stun now can't ambush us later. So Athan is also going to try to shoot this ninja. Oh, okay. I'm still never rolled better than a +1, but that at least is a 4 on a phaser check. Don't ask me to do life or death rolls tonight, folks.
That's fine. Although that being said, it rolled badly enough and has the negative consequences from being shot just a few seconds before. You hit it basically in exactly the same shoulder as Ensign Strange did, and it just spins out, dings off the wall, and they're both unconscious.
Ensign, report status.
Fine. Start looking up at the ceiling as to where they've come from.
Up ahead is what you would expect from a sort of very heavy duty ventilation system. Very much sort of thick iron, tacked on to the ceiling kind of thing, but much further beyond that it's very dark and seems to be sort of quite cavernous. While Strange is doing that, Athan, you notice a light at the end, not the end of the corridor, but a light appear somewhat further down the corridor that wasn't there before, and is sort of gently moving in that kind of
could be being held way.
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be reasonable to assume that if someone is down there with a torch, odds are good that they should be able to see us if they like kind of distance? Yeah. Cool. Just making sure.
Also, you just shot.
Exactly. I'm just checking because Athan is gonna like take a position with the phaser like not leveled directly at, but kind of low to be brought up very quickly. And call out, "My name's Captain Athan. This situation at this station is clearly in some distress. Please reveal yourself so we can help you."
Strange. Do you respond to the captain discovering a person?
Yeah, I'm going to stop looking in the vent and start looking in the same direction as the captain is, so I don't get suddenly shot.
So you turn your back on the vent.
I do turn my back on the vent.
It eats you.
Oh.
Well, shit.
Strange. You do feel though that breeze of a sort of recycled ventilation system just hit the back of your neck. In fact, make me a notice check, and you may have a +2 because you are an engineer.
Okay, so that's that. Come here, numbers. Notice 2.
Is that with the +2 because you're an engineer?
No, that's with the +2. The dice were a -2.
Well, thankfully, this is a game where succeeding is succeeding, and it's all about degrees. Now that the hatch, as it were, is down, you hear a rattle that you just procs something in your engineer's brain, which is that you think it is going to start its ventilation cycle again soon.
Oh, and that was when the nasty fog happened, isn't it?
Captain Athan, you have held your phaser in the direction
Yeah.
of the torch, which Ensign Strange, you basically recognize to be one of the sorts of torches that an engineer might have, sort of a low light emergency torch, in that it is covering those sort of that range of reddish hues that people tend to use when they are humans trying to do repairs in the dark. And you both of you hear a voice that says, "I'm sorry, what? Were you going to shoot me?"
No. Who are you? My name's Captain Athan, USS Iskandar.
That's Starfleet, isn't it?
Yes. What's going on? Who are you?
Oh, I'm John. I'm John Duteros.
Do you mind approaching, John?
Do-
Lowering the phaser.
I would much prefer we do this the other way round, because you are in a corridor, and being in corridors is bad.
Captain, they do have a point. This vent is about to start its ventilation cycle again, and so we're probably going to be flooded with that vapor again.
Okay. Nod, but I'm like ready to move. But I thought at least I want to like get like at least a quick but decent look at these damn ninjas before we move. Like, even if it's just nod and kind of shine the light on and just look. Like, it's a 5-second jobby.
They are definitely humanoid. Probably the darker instinct of things that can go wrong will go wrong tells you they're probably human, full stop. They seem to be wearing if not uniforms, certainly the sort of practical garb you would expect of people aboard a station like this. They are sort of warped and burned in various places, still with distinctive enough sort of shapes and markings and patterns that tell you that these are separate people. They haven't become the same sort of person, but something has happened to warp these people. And sort of as you look at that, then the emergency lights shift in hue, and once again you hear that voice echoing, "Prepare for ventilation.
Time to cheese it.
Prepare for ventilation."
Yes,
We will cheese it in John's direction.
And in that dramatic fashion, as Strange turns to hear the fog sort of roiling out of the ventilation system, you run and run through the sealable door, and there is the brief instance where you see a regular human person who closes the door behind you, just as we follow the fog that fills the corridor and clouds the lens of the camera that Lieutenant Cayce has been watching this encounter wordlessly through. But Cayce, you basically see Athan, and you didn't see them talking to this person. You didn't see this person. What you see is Captain Athan and Ensign Strange seeming to have a conversation with something, run off camera, and then everything is covered in this white fog.
Stressful.
Very stressful for them and for you.
You say wordlessly and not like Sam Casey is the kind of man who like yells at his TV, sort of.
He definitely is. I think in the circumstance where there is one of these ninjas in the next room, it's a very I don't want to wake my parents scenario. Like whispered no.
You do hear the distant sort of clicking and moving of people around you, indicating that this is not a safe place to remain. And you see your eye is drawn once again to the screen that contains whatever is happening to poor Ensign Carnell, wherein he seems to be surrounded by a number of these figures, masking his form from the camera. But there is certainly something technical to what they are doing, and he doesn't seem too pleased about it. You are currently in the room, the security room. Behind you is the door you came through, wherein all the stuff you know is back there, and there are 2 other doors leading off it, one to the left, one to the right.
For the time being, I will have a quick look at this console. If ultimately I need to camp between the computer terminal that I'm at and the room that I woke up in, I need to basically secure what assets I have in the rooms that I have available to us before I go on a little explore.
This seems to be much more of a basic just video relay thing rather than the full ship's computer. There's probably a panel that is more for like administrative computery stuff. But you should not imagine that this station is super hyper technical. You know full well that research stations like this, they keep their good technology in like the science section, and then everything else is just kind of quite basic that can be run by any member of the crew. It's not Starfleet levels across the board.
Is there any means from this rig to communicate out? Any intercom system where I could speak to anyone that I'm looking at through the cameras?
Make me a operations check.
It's hot garbage. It's fuck 0.
It's fuck 0. Okay.
It's fuck 0.
So while you think you find the technology that would allow you to communicate through the system, the main intercom with the station seems quite basic. You flip the switch a few times and something isn't connected in the machine. And you're not confident enough to go delving to find wherever that loose connection is.
No, I mean, if nothing else, if I get just arse out under a computer system right now, then at any point one of my friendly captors might walk into the room and be quite upset to find me not in the detaining chamber.
And mucking about with their stuff, which is rude.
It is rude. I'm not too worried about offending them. Okay, so from which direction does it seem like Carnell's screams are coming from?
Make me a investigation check.
Oh, he's doing better this time. Oh, it's pretty good, boy. That's a 4.
Then having a quick listen at both doors, the right-hand one.
Cool. I'm going to try the left first.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but I know that there's at least 4 guys that way between Carnell and myself. So I'm going to try the left, and because again, I need to secure assets. My arm is still busted. That is the thing that we must remember.
You have made a sling out of a jumpsuit.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I'm going to treasure it.
I'm really proud of you for the sling.
I need some kind of weapon in order to be able to be of any use to Carnell. So I'm going to take the left and see what's... I've got to creak the door open. Oh God, is it sweep? Is it future? It's like an automatic sweep door rather than an open and an out door.
It's a sweep door.
Fuck, I hate the future. I guess I'm gonna just psh the door.
You murdered immediately by the 400 troops on the other side. Yeah. I'm one of those sorts of GMs.
Today.
You didn't do the very specific check for
this is Tomb of
400
Horrors.
troops. Yeah.
You're playing a Sierra adventure game.
Yeah, sorry. You go to the door and the door switches open and it just yeets you into the void of space.
You didn't pick up the thing 15 scenes ago, and you can't go back and get it now.
Yeah,
I thought this was a LucasArts adventure game, and I could do that.
No.
Beans.
Not beans. New characters all around.
Nevertheless, you go through the door, and thankfully there does not seem to be a whole horde of these things waiting to peel your skin off and eat you. There seems to be what remains of someone's office. And by remains, I mean it's clearly been gone over and gone over and gone over, and it is a state. But this is somebody's office.
Cool.
There's a small terminal that's been stacked up with pads and diagrams and sort of bits of broken things that someone was trying to tinker with and fix. Quite a few mugs, quite a lot of pictures, and also in places just, stacks of jumpsuits and things that seem to have been unpacked and left there. And whilst this was probably someone's office, considering it's right next to the security terminal, it's been converted into something more like storage.
Interesting. I'm going to have a little look around. Now, the top of my shopping list would be a Mark III phaser rifle.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't know what to do with a Mark III phaser rifle, boy.
I'll settle for a 2. But ultimately, while I am looking for weapons, is also the insatiable curiosity of what is actually happening here. And so I'm going to do a general sweep of this room. And I'm going to be very interested in not only kind of the pictures, getting an idea of who was here, but also assuming that my assailants have been in this room and rummaged around its stuff. What are the kind of things that they seem to be tinkering with and taking? Because that might give me an idea of what they're doing.
In which case, I should like 3 rolls from you that will be interconnected.
Hell yeah.
They are an investigation roll.
That's a 3.
Any of operations or engineering, depending on your mood.
That's a 4.
And an empathy check.
Oh, he's even done that one. Yeah, that's a 2.
2, 3, 4. Neat across the board. Looking at this room, I'm going to do what I normally do, which is I'm going to give you some facts and then you may ask some questions, but I'm giving you just some answers first because you don't know what to ask because you don't know what there is.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of photographs or images that would seem to indicate people that you would imagine are from this station, given that there is that familiar look that growing up of pictures of people on scientific expeditions, people at the start of projects. They're dressed practically, but their clothes are a bit more pristine. You recognize the style and design of the jumpsuits that you've seen on the table, and the embroidered one that you picked up out of the cupboard that you were in. They're smiling. They seem happy. Your eye is drawn to an older sort of male figure at the center of one of the images, and looking at it, you pull down the lapel that has been part of the sling that is holding your arm up, and you look at his jumpsuit. Both are embroidered, although one is much scruffier with the name Newland, and he is smiling at you, his eyes sort of crinkling, and you feel a sort of pang of connection.
I love this man.
He is your father. It is Darth Vader. You remember Adam saying the idea of the messy engineer and the careful engineer, and how there seems to have been this progression. And you can see this progression spread throughout this room of people who started assembling things in a sort of curious or necessary fashion, compared to just some boxes that have just been tipped up, ransacked for the most obvious parts, and left other things left in a way that even you would go, oh, you could do something with these. These are pretty useful. Why? You also notice that a lot of the specifications, that the specifications and the manuals that have been left most on the top are things for replication technology.
Interesting. I suppose there's a supposition there that might not be necessary at this stage, but are we dealing even with two different engineers, or is the messy engineer just a later stage of the tidy engineer? Is this a person or persons growing increasingly desperate?
That is a very good question. That being said, your eyes are drawn back to the pictures of the people. Not all of it is on this research station. Some of it is just dotted about the place. Some pictures you notice are taken from Castor 4. You see your mothers in one of them in the background, doing things, lifting and carrying and being involved in the process. But your eye is drawn to one picture wherein your mother, Riley Cayce, the less scientific one of your two mothers, the lab tech of the relationship. Every relationship must have a brilliant but troubled scientist and a lab tech. That's what are you? Are you the lab tech in your relationship? Riley is much more central in a picture of a group of the people you recognize from the main picture, and is sporting one of the jumpsuits, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. There are a lot of pictures of people, but there is something about the fact that you can see Riley so distinctly here. No, it's not from this station. It seems to be quite an old picture. Riley looks a fair bit younger, but you recognize her so clearly. And so there are lots of other pictures of people, of families. There's a picture that's just children in it. There's pictures of just nice vistas, the way that a lot of deep space research colonists will have, like, this is a lovely picture of a forest to remind me that there is green in the world. But sort of it all dims slightly when you take in this image of your mother. And given your good series of rolls before, I shall give you a couple more questions about the room to stop this turning into a monologue about the room. No, actually, the film.
Is there...
Great question.
Great.
One of the best.
So this, by all accounts, this is Newland's office.
You would say confidently.
Is Newland in the picture with my mother?
Yes. Again, significantly younger, but if you take the photo that is quite clearly supposed to be we're doing the start of the project photo, where he is a sort of an older guy, then in the picture with your mother, he has darker hair, he's clearly younger looking. He's in a lot of the other pictures as well, so this is quite clearly indicative that this is his memories.
Is there anyone else who is a constant throughout these pictures?
A lot of the people who you start to put together as the team You know, a lot of similar faces. You know, you see a couple of names that you recognize. You see one that has Newland, but she's not him. She is a woman of some description, and you're confident that they're not the same person because they're both in the same picture at the same time. And in a couple of pictures, there is a child in various stages of being alive. What's it called? Aging.
Yeah. Existence.
Various stages of being alive.
Great.
Starts off a sort of scruffy haired, you know, boy, and there are a couple of pictures where you think it's the same person but older. But again, it's not a photo album. You just see a couple of images where you go, he's the same person, but maybe a decade apart.
Anything to indicate that the child is spawn of Newland?
That was my other name for this episode.
I am the spawn of Newland.
Spawn of Newland. Nothing to indicate that.
Cool.
Except that they are in photos together.
That's okay. I think that'll do. There's nothing I can think of asking for this round. I'll make them dashing back into this room if I get a brain flash.
You and I count words tonight.
You know, one of those brain flash. A moment of inspiration.
A moment of inspiration at a point in your life.
A point in my life as I age.
Well, your scene will finish though with you. A moment of triumph crossing your faces. You think you spot the stock of a phaser pistol.
Superb.
But only upon approaching it do you realize that it has been thoroughly dismantled.
Like I heft it up and it like falls apart.
It's you're just left with the stock and some springs, and you're like, ah, springs aren't good. And the look of kind of, I'm disappointed with how this has gone. The camera pans away.
Springs are no good. Cayce prefers autumns.
See, I knew you knew what you did because you took a long time to look back at the screen.
Remove Emily from existence.
Send to God.
Send to God. Do you not have a chat window? Hello, God. Please smite Emily. She knows what she did.
Ah, shit.
It's been a long time. Worth it to screw with the windows. Worth it.
I love that for anyone watching has never seen the word pasty gremlin before. It just flashed up on screen.
Yeah, I ask them all to change their names, their character names, for the ease of my GMing. They don't often. So if ever you see me go, and so Samuel Cayce, Captain Athan, and Adam Strange, it's because I actively have to say, don't say pastry gremlin or pickle witch or whatever Roomba's decided is their name.
Pickle witch is so good.
Oh, I think it was pickle witch.
I said pickle
witch is strong
because of pickles from before. Pickles descends. I wish for death. So the shot changes, and it is there are a number of very battered but very recognizable those sort of mugs that like the ones they had on Deep Space Nine, where they're basically naval mugs that are just kind of beaten up and should hold Rakticino, but instead are being filled with just steaming sort of watery liquid, and the face of the person who Captain Athan and Adam Strange met with. He is a young. I've realized actually I was about to describe him as a sort of youngish man with sort of short, messy black hair, and he is sort of miscellaneously tanned and with dark eyes. I'm like, oh, it's me. And I didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here now.
I did not a self-insert, please God. Nevertheless, you see much more clearly this individual who has sort of the very telltale marks of like someone who has been living and working in a dilapidated space station for some time. He's wearing one of those one of the work suits that has been patched and torn and stitched back together, and he is pouring from a sort of very long handled device some hot water into 3 cups, and looks at you both with a sort of quite pleasantly bemused expression, and just says, there's not a lot that can't be solved with a nice mug of pipe tea and a conversation. It's been a while since I've spoken to people, so it's nice. Hi. Hello.
Hi, John, was it?
John. Yes, John.
Hi, John.
Nadari, Adam. Help yourself. It's horrid, but it's fine. It's good.
Thank you. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take the damn tea.
Take the tea, sniff it carefully before I take a sip.
By tea, it just seems to be hot water with a faintly metallic tang to it.
You know what? Like, even if I'm just cupping it, it will be like.
It's actually given. You know when you've been in a situation where everything is very stressful and you've gone through a horrible situation several times, just holding on to a hot mug is actually, you do feel immediately a lot better. If either of you have any consequences stacked from previous engagements, just wipe the slate, unless you broke your face open or something. I
mean, my stress should end at the end of the scene, but now the tea helps it go away, or the hot water mug helps it go away. Hi, John.
Hi.
So we arrived only intending to drop off one of our colleagues to help out here, and we found all of this.
I can imagine that was a lot.
It was, but
Yes.
it's probably been more than a lot for you. What's happened here?
Well, progress has happened, but also in that way that sometimes progress has a number of steps back. A lot of not progress. The scary, violent attacks is a lot to deal with, but I think I'm handling the situation.
Okay. When did it all? Sorry. Have you assigned to? How long have you been working on this station?
Oh, officially or unofficially?
Well, either, both.
Well, unofficially, I don't know. A while, I think. How long has the project been going? Some months, I think. Maybe years.
A while. Okay. What about officially?
Never.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
What is this project?
Oh, do you not know? Oh,
no.
Oh, please tell us.
So, how much do you know about the field of theoretical astrophysics?
I look at my chief engineer. Well, not even a chief engineer.
I've been promoted.
No.
Shut up. Demoted further. Now you are just
anti-chief engineer.
You are just a bin.
I'll just get in my bin. Yes, a fair bit about theoretical astrophysics. What branch of it are you looking into in this project?
Well, the study of Castor X has been, and he's clearly trying to show you about 8 pads at once, and sort of realizes that that's not going to work, and so kind of sets down some things and just goes instead to a classic just chart that he has drawn on the wall in paint.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, what's he drawn this in?
No, this is definitely looking around. You think this is some sort of storage container that has the telltale signs of a cot and a couple of boxes that have sort of rations in them, and clearly indicative of someone just sort of living in a room that was not designed for living, but he's making do.
Right.
Castor 10 has always had a particularly charming orbit, and that's been degrading for some time. And at the same time, Castor 10 gives off just wicked quantities of some fairly unique combinations of radiation that you don't see in most places, which has been having wild effects on the colonists that live and work in the area. So there's been a lot of research done into the effects of this radiation, because it affects some people differently than others, and has a lot of similarities to Earth's nuclear boom, where a lot of tests were done, but not a lot of answers were found. So I have been spending some time trying to collate and collect a good quantity of some of the tests that I found in order to try and make sense of it. But it's difficult, you see, because a lot of it has to do with more advanced medicinal and biological functions that anything smaller than a gas giant is a little bit small for my remit, and people are
Gotcha. Yes.
People are small, and I don't. But I'm confident that if I can figure out what happened to them, then I can fix it, and then I can put together the answers, and then it's none of it's been for nothing, and then there's answers.
Okay.
Right. So you're studying the effects of the radiation coming off of Castor 10 and trying to determine its source, or
well, its source is Castor 10, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Of course, yes. No, I was more thinking along the lines of the origin of it, why Castor 10 is giving off that kind of radiation, or is it more just looking at the effects of it and the end product of, we've got this radiation that's coming off, and this is the effect on the colonies around the Castor system.
And a number of paths with a lot of numbers are thrown at you. And he goes, so it's to do with the degrading orbit, because Castor 10 is so far out from the star. The gravity that's pulling it is not sufficient to stop it crumbling in on itself. It is too big to be where it is in the system. And
right. Okay, yes. So it's a combination of its own size, its own gravity, not being able to hold itself together because it's a gas giant and doesn't have the density for that, but because it doesn't have a stable orbit around the star, you've got the combination of the different gravities pulling in different directions and the different pressures on the core of the planet, and it's basically pulling itself apart.
Okay, Ensign, do we have an idea of why that might have led to the situation we're currently in?
Not yet.
Okay. Should we possibly move to, when did things change here, John?
Maybe about 4 months ago. I was counting the days, but that didn't seem helpful to keep counting the days. I had a lot of other things to keep track of, and days felt so small.
A while. What happened? I'm assuming first you worked here, you talked to your colleagues, you discussed your projects.
Well, their projects.
Their projects.
Yes, well, they're the scientists.
What's your job, John?
Primarily custodial.
So are you a theoretical astrophysicist as a hobby?
Well, I'm theoretically an astrophysicist.
Oh, is this because you're formally a custodian because you're not supposed to be here?
Well, I don't officially work here, but you've got to. I couldn't really go anywhere else.
Why not?
Well, I live here.
Here in this station.
Right. How did you end up living on the station in the first place, John? if you don't mind me asking?
You know, Adam, it's a funny story. My father,
Why?
well, it's his.
His
Well, it's his.
project.
It's always been his project.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
You just were here with him. Formally being a sort of helping out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not very strong, but I can get into tight spaces and I can fix things and I can. I'm just not allowed to actually do any of the research part.
But you've been reading up on it.
Well, yes. Well, it's my father's life work, so my life's work.
John, can I ask you a delicate question?
Of course, Nadari. Would you like some more tea?
I'd love some more tea.
It's the only way you can get vitamins. The ration packs are awful.
Have you been ill and is your father trying to make you better?
Look at shoes. No eye contact.
Ill?
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sense of what's going on.
Well, I'm the only one that hasn't gone wrong, so I don't think I'm that ill.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
What's your father been trying to do here?
No, I've been trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Because it's, people always say things covering the span of their lifetime, and they say, oh, for 20 years this or for 20 years that. But for 20 years is much longer than I've been sort of sentient. You're not going to tell a 1-year-old
Okay.
why they are. Don't know what my father does. I learned that it was much better just to not ask questions. Father hates answering questions.
Okay. Okay. So he's working on something. It's here. It's to do with the gravity of around Castor 10 and how that's affecting the planet and the radiation. And you've been here with your father.
Well, he says I'm important.
Okay. What else does he say about you?
That I'm in the way.
Understand that.
But that I'm important, and that it's important that I'm always with him, and
Okay.
and it's nice. I like research days. It's days I get to spend with my father.
What happens on research days?
Well, he asks questions about how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Takes an interest in my day. Not like my day, more sort of the macro rather than the micro. Takes a lot of my blood. But then I get to have a nice nap in the bio bed and that's good. And
Okay. Okay.
sometimes he brings me new technical manuals, and that's fun.
When did all of that stopped a few months ago?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened then?
I mean, everyone started going a bit slow at first. I didn't really notice, to be honest, because I don't talk to the people. I'm not supposed to. They've been a group for a long time, and this is quite a new project here. So that they were sort of people who know each other really well, and then they talk to each other and sort of get on. And sometimes I'd pretend that I was like in the group as well, and so when they were sharing a joke, then I knew about the joke as well, and I was involved. But they started fighting a lot more, and that was strange because I think they only fought sometimes, not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Father father shut himself away a lot more, which is and I had to keep the ventilation system running. He was very adamant that I keep the ventilation system running. So no, please.
When did you last? When did you last see your father? If you can sort of keep track, and what happened when you last saw your father?
A few months ago.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
A lot was happening that day. There were a lot of lights and sounds and everyone was very loud, and I didn't care for it. So I hid in here. And I thought if I just stayed in here, then eventually Father would sort it out, and I wouldn't have to be worried.
And the ventilation system doesn't work in here?
Well, no, it doesn't work in most of the rooms. It's
okay.
mostly the corridors.
Okay. And you've seen some of the other team dropping into the corridors. What have you seen them doing?
Sometimes they'd take pieces of technology away.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'd chase me, and I didn't like that. And sometimes they'd fight, and sometimes they'd build things, beautiful, strange things I didn't understand.
What kind of things?
Maybe draw us a picture on one of your pads, or?
I have a few. And he passes you some of the ideas of what he's seen. It's more sculptural than engineering, but you couldn't say what the purpose was just based off his sketches.
I can't believe
anything in common between the different ones that John sketched up.
Just the fact that there is a clear intent, and the fact that they are very sculptural. There's shapes there.
Sculptural and put together deliberately, but it's not like, oh, these all look like sculptures of human organs made out of wires or something like that.
No,
I don't know.
Nothing like that leaps out at you.
I believe that this dad's trying to cure all of the sick kids of Castor by opening a gateway to hell.
I mean, that's better than some of the other attempts we've had in this game, naming no Adams.
Okay. Do you know where they go? The others? They go up. But do you know where the ventilation system leads to? Do you know, do they just stay up there, or does it take, or do you think they can use it to get to somewhere on the station?
Well, you can get anywhere using the ventilation system on the station.
Okay.
But they don't go everywhere because they fear the gas.
What does the gas do?
It makes them cough. It makes them cough. It makes them worse.
How? When you say so
Define
worse?
Well, they're not well.
And it makes them more not well.
Right. Okay.
Okay. How often does the gas come out regularly? Have you kept?
Well, there is a pattern.
Okay. Do you know why the gas is coming out regularly?
That's because how Father insisted it be.
Was he always putting the gas out there since you've been here?
I think so.
And the others just went about their day, sometimes getting gassed?
Well, no, you just stay out the corridors when the gas is coming.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Because there's a big alarm that says, "Caution, there's gas coming," and most of them knew to stay out of the way.
Okay.
Sometimes I like to erase it.
Okay. They've taken 2 of my crew.
Mhm.
Do you know why they do that?
To figure out how to get better.
What do you think that's going to entail? Figuring it out.
There were some that were fine. Well, not fine, but they didn't change as quickly as the others, and so they took them up to the sick bay.
Okay. What happens in the
Right.
sick bay?
Now they make people better.
But what happened to them, the ones they've taken in the past up to sick bay?
Oh, I don't know. I don't go to sick bay. I don't like it there.
Why not?
Or when I go there, I get a lot of my blood taken out.
Okay. But you think they might take more people to sick bay to try to figure out how to be better? Okay.
Well, they're still scientists.
Okay. How many? Do you know how many there are?
The original mission there were 12.
Okay. Do you know how to access any of the station systems? Or do you know where they can be accessed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, where can you tell us?
Well, once the gas is done, I can take you to the ventilation system.
Okay.
I mean, I'm thinking like internal cameras, maybe internal security systems. Is there like a main operations section?
I don't know how to do operations. I'm not on the system.
Oh, that's
'Cause
okay. But
I'm not here.
do you know where?
Do you know
like,
where it could be though?
No.
Okay, that's okay. Well, where can you take us? You can take us through.
The ventilation system.
You can take us through the ventilation system.
Well, I have to clean some of the emitters, and we have, we have another 20 minutes on this cycle.
Okay.
Okay.
It is so nice to have people here, though.
Of course.
Anson, is there anything you think you can do if we can get into the ventilation system, other than at the very least stop the gas? Or possibly use the gas to, corral them.
Use it, direct it. Might be able to. Can you still get around the station normally, John? Or are the vents the only way that people are able to get about the station these days?
No, you can come at the station normally, but
Okay.
then, the crew might find you.
But won't they find you in the vents?
No.
In the vent. Okay. We can help with the ventilation system.
I mean, they might, but it's less likely.
Okay.
Okay, so we can maybe set things up so we can direct the gas so that it separates us from the crew while we try
Or
and
at least a bunch of them, yeah.
or at least a bunch of them while we try and get up to sickbay.
Okay, but then let's think about this sensibly. We do need to get them out of sickbay, but we should have an idea of what we're doing after that, because right now we're stuck here. We need, I think, which is more feasible? Communications or getting a ship out of here, considering what they've done to our shuttle?
Honestly, I would say communications, unless there is another docking bay that would have a ship that the crew wouldn't have had access to.
GM, considering that we flew here, like, do we have?
Is there likely to be another docking bay?
Or don't we know?
You landed in the only docking bay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, I think you noted you arrived and there weren't any other ships there.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
how did these people get off here?
Oh wait, maybe they didn't. Yeah, okay.
Okay, communications, because if nothing else, a distress signal can be sent without necessary, although we don't just want more increasing numbers of 1 or 2 people, but whoever, they know that
if we
we
said
came here, a
they know that-
shuttle of Starfleet officers, and if we send out a distress signal, one would assume that they will at least take it seriously and not just keep sending in people in their ones and twos.
We can send out a signal, or try and send out a signal with enough information to
Yes.
inform whoever comes along after.
I don't know who's nearby who's going to be able to help us, but we have to, which might mean we might end up camping out here for a little while, which also means we should find out what we can about this gas.
Yes.
Which also is probably a good place. Sickbay might be a good
Sickbay,
place.
I think, is still going to be the best place for that.
Also, we need to see if anyone here remains unaffected.
Adam,
Yes.
Nadari,
Mm-hmm.
my father isn't going to be in trouble, is he?
I don't think so. I just want to talk to him.
Am I going to be in trouble?
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what your father's done, but if he's here and he can help us, that would make everything a lot easier.
I just know I'm not supposed to lie. And so I always want to make sure that. Although father says I'm not supposed to lie to him, and I didn't. So that's okay.
Okay. It's good to not lie to people.
I know that.
Thank you,
But-
Johnson.
I just meant I don't want to get in trouble for lying to the others.
I think right now they're not really understanding what you're saying anyway. So, what did you tell them?
Everything was fine.
That everything was fine.
The nice lady on Castor 4.
Sorry?
Castor 4, they checked in every week. And I'd say that everything was fine.
How were you telling Castor for this?
The communication system, which I don't have access to anymore.
Okay, could you take us?
Okay,
Why
can
don't
you
you have
just-
access to it anymore?
So I did used to be able to go there because that's where I stored my reconstituted protein worms. But then they started dismantling it, and so I can't get there anymore.
Right.
Okay, but
I
what
think
they
they
dis-
I think they ran out of parts on where they'd been before.
do you know where they're
Right, when
building
did-
these things?
All over.
All over. Okay.
Engineering, storage.
Okay.
There are a lot of areas where they were designed to build in because it's a research facility.
Okay. So
Okay.
when
Okay. When did you lose access to the communications array again?
So a little bit ago.
should be why we ended up here having a checkup. Why it's been going on much longer than we think. Okay. Well, once we can move, I think if we start going through the ventilation system, if we can see about taking a look at sick bay first. And then I think I understand that getting to places might be difficult. We might have to be careful and not do it in the order that we want, but we'd like to see about getting to sick bay to find my crew. I think we'd like to get to communications, but we might need to see some of the things that they've built with the parts.
I can take you as far as sick bay, but I won't go in.
That's okay. You don't need to.
It's fine.
Are you any good at climbing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, have a reconstituted protein snack, and we will wait 8 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now, tell me about the outside. Says John, as we cut back to poor Lieutenant Cayce, who upon there was only one way out of the office if you decided to leave, and that took you to a little corridor.
I will pursue this. Yes.
Yes. Good. Down this corridor, it is much messier. Messy is the wrong word. It is much more torn up than the earlier stages that you found. I'm about to get murdered. But meticulously, everything has been picked clean. You think you are walking next to what should be a slightly larger area, but the windows to view the area have been either boarded up or painted over. Although here the emergency lights are much more sturdy. They're not flickering as much. And still on the boarded or painted windows, you can see that the big red X has been daubed.
I don't feel entirely comfortable getting too far away from Carnell, but equally, I still remain one broken-armed boy. So I definitely need something to turn the tide before I try and confront that situation. Otherwise, there are going to be 2 deathly injured Starfleet officers.
Yeah, but
you'll have anyone.
You'll have 2 good arms between you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, I'm going to be kind of like mulling things over as I'm going, trying to figure out if there's any pattern in what has been missing, to kind of get an idea of what they might be trying to build or achieve by scavenging the tech. But otherwise,
what you will notice what you'll notice is that there is a point where the light level changes slightly, where you see that there is a gap in one of the boarded up sort of viewing windows, and someone seems to be using some sort of plasma torch or something on not the other side, but within that space.
Interesting. I can't assume they're friendly, but they do have a plasma torch.
Plasma torches are neat.
It's a severe upgrade from a broken arm and a stiff upper lip. So I might try and find a way into that room, even just to get a look at this guy.
Make me an investigation check.
Oh, he's doing all right. That's a 5.
Yeah. Okay. So with that investigation check, you will figure out quite quickly that you've been walking in something of an arc, and that this is probably some sort of staging area or similar. There are plenty on the Iskandar for doing theoretical work. And you find another slightly broken off board, and you look in and you see inside are 2 figures, both bejump suited, both covered over in appropriate sort of but slightly mismatched PPE, and that they seem to be safe when doing science, everyone. And they seem to be constructing some sort of device. Having a good look at it with your investigation, with your 5, you would say that it's definitely constructed of some of the slightly more desperate parts, rather than, fine hypertech. And it seems to be a gutted console that's being refitted with something. And all around the room there are plenty of sort of similar scales and scope of project.
And there's 2 of them.
Indeed.
That kind of sucks.
Because you mean when there's one person, you could be like, hey, let's be buddies, but then there's 2, you're a third wheel, it's awkward.
Yeah.
What if they call you Square?
From the glimpses I've seen of our assailants, do they seem like the kind of people that would be capable of this manual labor? Am I being hyper paranoid where I'm like, maybe these people will attack me, or is it likely they'll attack me?
You couldn't say. But this is definitely a relatively high level of technical competency. You know, you wouldn't make any of the people working on this at the moment based on what you're saying, you know, a Starfleet chief engineer, but also they'll let any old hobbledehoy be a chief engineer in this day and age. Not even paying attention while I'm dragging them. That's right, I called you a hobbledehoy.
Hobbledehoy, one of those hobbledehoys you hear so much about.
But you also very distinctly cannot see any exposed skin on these people.
Yeah. I don't have too many options. I might need to just call out to these guys. I'm going to keep myself positioned in the door in case I need to beat a hasty retreat. But I will call out. This is Starfleet.
The figure closest to you is not the one using the torch. That's the person on the other side. The person closest to you seems to be holding whatever is being welded in place. In a calipers, not in their bare hands. And they turn, clearly not expecting a sound from that part of the room, or indeed the other side of the wall. And you can see the sort of the look of someone who's in sort of thick protective gear trying to make something out.
Promising. I'll kind of eke out a little, hands up, try and look non-threat. One hand up, the other's in a swing. Try and look non-threatening.
You can make me a rapport check.
Well, it's a whatever my skill is. Those die cancel each other out. It's a 1.
Just a 1.
But you know, I do know the necessity and cost of that Saki right. I don't really know if that is applicable actually. And these guys are definitely not my superiors.
What did you say? Saki right?
Sorry. Yes, it's. Someone did this to my character sheet. It doesn't say sacrifice, it says Saki rice in that aspect.
Someone did this to you.
Mike.
I know the necessity and cost of
Was it you,
Saki
Mike?
rice.
Was it
I
you,
don't
Mike?
think it was me.
Mike, was it you? Did you deface your character sheet?
I don't think so.
This has been a long old game. But it's
Because Mike, you can't change it now. You don't know the meaning of sacrifice. You only know the meaning of Saki rice, which makes it a much worse aspect, Mike. It's not helpful.
No. Instead, I may tag. There's nothing. Who am I kidding? I can't smart my way out of this. It's a dumb thing.
Be the brightest mind of your generation. It works for everything.
Is it not time that you take an aspect that's just ooh woo I'm sad boy?
That's my character sheet.
Yeah, you both have different versions of please help me, I'm sad.
I'm gonna ride this one.
Casey's sad. Strange is the wooby. There's a subtle but important.
It's true.
Something bad happened to me. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's just the aspect. It's just, ooh. No, I'm gonna ride that one. I mean, technically, it's average. I'll take being average in this moment. I might be attacked. I might need to run. I'll tell you now, if I need to run, I'm going right back to my cupboard. I'm just going right in there. Should never have
Undoing
left.
all the good work. Kath, would you please roll me a d6?
Don't do it.
I was going to for some reason ask if you wanted me to roll the red or the gold, but I don't think it matters.
Whichever.
6.
happening?
Amazing. Assume it's for the red shirts.
Bye, Sam.
The figure, the other figure has since turned the torch off, and they're both sort of looking at you with sort of the obvious body language of curiosity and interest. You've stepped out now from the through the gap in the window pane.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sort of doing the universal symbol of hello, it's me. And the nearest one pushes up their sort of very thick visor, which you can see before they do has been actively mended in places in a way that is not advisable for visors, because those are points of weakness, and that's not safe. Don't do that. Yeah. And two things happen at once. You feel the absolute cold panic that you are staring into the face of one of these sort of kind of very, very twisted figures that have been sort of battered and clearly hit with sort of the soot and the ash of whatever it is they're working on here. And recognize in the other figure similar body language that indicates not being fully present.
Mm-hmm.
But also in that moment, neither of them move to attack you or seem angry or threatened or put forward any aggressive body language. They are still sort of curiously observing you. And like they have a plasma torch and a big pair of calipers in their hand. If they wanted to be threatening right now, they could be very, very threatening.
I think I may leave.
At what speed do you move to leave?
Just regular, just like he will kind of like quietly mutter to himself, "I should go."
You guys are busy. I'm sorry.
You know what? This looks important.
As you take a step back, they take a step forward.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That I will stop. Can I help?
The one with the calipers takes another step towards you. The heavy calipers in her offhand. And a big hand that you can see has been sort of twisted, gnarled like roots. Fingers are sort of distended and bruised in places. Reaches out for you.
What kind of reach? Where are they going to grab?
Make me an empathy check.
Uh-oh. -1.
You find these people and their motives beyond violence, not violence, unreadable.
Mm-hmm.
But the hand is coming towards you with that slow pace.
If any movement other than accepting this hand right now would be an escalation.
You don't know what would be an escalation.
Excavation. I'll excavate the plot from this moment. I'm gonna. This is either an opportunity to communicate, or I've badly misread the situation. I'm gonna have my neck snapped, but running won't fix anything. So I'm going to stand my ground. I'm gonna let myself be handled.
A very strong hand grips down onto your not bandaged shoulder. Actually, no. Yes, your bandaged shoulder, but that's only because the way a sling works is that your good shoulder is actually the one taking the bandage, but not the one that hurts. Although you are none too gently pulled towards the other two. No, the other one. That there are two.
But towards the project.
Yeah.
Okay. I will kind of look at what is being attempted and try to make an assessment of what are they trying to do.
Make me an engineering check.
There he is. There he is. That's not dog shit. That is a 6.
I'm sending you this piece of information because you can decide whether or not you reveal it now or whether you want to do the "oh, I see, how fascinating" response. But nevertheless, that is what is clear as day to you. As one of them hands the calipers to you.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping this from the audience. Holy shit! I think it's just like a shot of eyes widening in full recognition. I can help, and I'll get to work.
So, having been fully assimilated by the Norg, we are going to cut back for just a moment to Captain Athan and Adam Strange, just as they are out with John, who is clipping them into these belt cables that come down from the ceiling in various places and panels. So this should stop you falling when you get in.
Okay.
We've got enough time before the ventilation cycles again. But if it does, don't breathe it, because that's not good for you.
Okay.
And if they are up there, run.
Okay. We do have phasers. We can protect you as we run. They can be stunned.
For how long?
I don't fucking know.
Don't ask questions.
I
questions, just get in the vent.
To be fair, I guess ice is reasonable for me to have no idea. I don't
slap him for his impudence.
As long as a fucking stun lasts, don't ask me.
Arsene, you fool.
I'm not sure, but definitely long enough for us to get away.
Okay.
It worked out in the corridors.
I just wouldn't want anything, long-term bad to happen, because, they've been through enough.
Yes, of course. We're here to hopefully help them as well.
I hope your friends aren't dead.
Thank you. So do I.
Yes. Shall we?
Okay, Adam, you just want to hold on to the clip there. No, not there.
Okay.
If you clip that, you're going to go upside down. Okay, that one. Good. Okay. On 3. 3. And you are, all three of you, lifted up out of the eerie emergency lighting that has dominated much of your experience on the Castor 10 research station into the echoey, cavernous, somewhat A-shaped crawl space that's absolutely coated in whatever this residue is from the gas. And all around you can see fresh trails where the residents of the station have been crawling. And on that, I think that's probably a sensible place to take a wee break. before we return to see what the gang gets up to on the second half of Star Trek Iskandar Axiom. What is happening in space?
What is happening in space?
What is
What
happening?
is happening in space?
Praxis descends.
Pickles descends.
Pickles descends.
Pickle.
So selfie sticks,
5.
use our affiliate link.
We are live.
I don't know how much of that you heard, but use our affiliate link. I will not tell you what for. Just use our affiliate link. Use code, oh God, why at checkout. Welcome back, everyone. I'm sorry.
We heard him now.
I will deny everything I say ever.
First result is a Cosmopolitan article.
We're not being sponsored to talk about these results, and also we may get horribly banned from Twitch.
I mean, if we get banned from Twitch, that feels like a fucking achievement.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
I know, no challenge accepted. This is where we host our stream.
Okay, I'm gonna go find all of my research.
Welcome back, everyone.
Star Trek.
Hi.
For if we have our way, the last time we'll ever stream.
Please save me from these people. Help. Send help.
Practice
No.
descends.
Please help. Praxis descends.
Pickle.
Pickle.
Pickle witch.
Pickle witch. Star Trek.
I'd just like to thank everyone for the fact that we've not degenerated yet into Rick and Morty references.
How do we have
And I
fucking
think that was very
Patreons?
impressive.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you,
Pe-
patrons. Today,
Thank
because
you.
of the Patreon payout, I bought groceries. I don't feel I deserve to eat now. I feel I should give the money back.
You should spend that money on pickles.
I should just starve. I would rather starve. I hate pickles. That's not a funny joke. That's just a serious fact about me. I don't like pickles very
That
much.
seemed it was.
What do you mean you didn't assume it was? Why do you think my jokes are funny, Rupert? I'm funny. Anyway, before it becomes about my bruised ego, welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of Axiom issue 2, part 2, episode 2. When last we left the crew, Lieutenant Samuel Cayce had found himself, to coin a phrase, in something of a pickle. He had fallen in with 2 of the mutant ninjas, who, rather than attacking him, as every other one has done so far, they gave him some rudimentary tools and set him about a task. And Lieutenant Samuel Cayce, being who he is, when faced with a terribly dangerous situation, went, ooh, a task. I'ma build something. On the other end of the spectrum, Captain Athan and Ensign Adam Strange have adopted seemingly the only unaffected individual aboard this station, that being the young John Duteros, whose father is or was in charge of the station, and who has been covering for him for some weeks now, sending false positive messages back to Castor 4 in the hope that people will leave him alone. Something has certainly happened to this young man. He's not okay.
He's definitely not okay.
But his survival thus far remains.
Pretty sure I saw John in the vents.
He does get around using the vents, but he might just be an engineer.
I'm the engineer.
No.
You can't it's not like knows like. You can't smell each other or something.
I mean, Strange can, but only for different reasons. So we
I was not informed about this addition to my character sheet.
You can smell other engineers. But John, as we all know, is a custodian.
Doesn't smell like an engineer.
No, exactly.
Vents.
Sus.
Sorry. So I need everyone to know,
Pretty sure it's their job by electrical.
that I'm a reasonable GM. I look after my players. I'm that my safety tools are very important. So when I see that a message has popped into the group chat I will always check it because I want to ensure that, given that there are some quite heavy themes in this week's session, that I'm not about to receive a message going, you know what, this is a lot. Can we skip a scene? Or I'm upset by what's just happened, so that I can respond in appropriate fashion. Not
Spoilers, dear viewer. That is not what Mike put in the quick chat.
there is a photograph and a caption. The photograph is of a Google search result that says, "A dildo selfie stick has arrived." Mike's caption just says, "It has arrived."
So how was your break?
Why do I bother trying to do anything? I should just instead perish. Photo Potato, you can hear enough. I have to hear this. I'm in the call. I would that I could just throw away my headphones, but I sort of have to be a part of this, and that feels just.
You could have not mentioned what was in the group chat. I
know.
feel like that's on you.
I felt
We're
it
still
was,
monetized. We've just popped up with an ad for Razer laptops.
I felt,
Yeah.
I was worried where that sentence was going.
No, I feel that if I had to experience it, I needed to share it with the audience because that's the kind of relationship we have. Also, because it was dunking Mike in it, and that's always fun. That's
true.
a fun activity for all the family. Dunking on Mike.
Teabagging.
Way.
Teabagging.
Praxis descends.
And we're back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed getting your cup of tea. Welcome back to part 2 of Axiom, episode 2. Praxis descends. Extended resignation letter from the trash crew. Nevertheless, we tune back in with Captain Athan, Ensign Strange, and John crawling their way through not a tiny air vent. This clearly seems to be a research station that was constructed with a sort of powerful ventilation system in mind, rather than just what is standard. Adam, you can see as you're crawling around that this is definitely it's a hefty ventilation system. Someone definitely made a conscious effort to go, I want heft everywhere. And you can
I want a ventilation system that's going to be big enough to crawl through for reasons.
And you can see that a lot of the emitters that pump the air through to various places are much more meticulously cleaned than other places. It seems that if this was John's job, John's been doing it.
Okay.
And there are a couple of points going through that he does actively stop to check a couple of the technical parts of the air system just to make sure that they are still processing air. Pulls out some sort of a marker, makes a little mark on his sleeve, and then carries on with what he's doing, crawling forward. So you wanted to find sickbay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That shouldn't be too difficult. We've passed 2 of these. One of these. Going left at one of the couplingy things. Okay, after we go left, then there might be some of them around. And if that happens, you just lie very still until they go away.
Okay.
Okay. And again, he shuffles forward, stopping every now and then to check off a quick mark on either where you are or what needs doing. And you see that up around sort of the shoulder, his upper sleeve, there are a lot of different marks and tallies that he seems to be using his uniform as some sort of notebook. And it's about this point as you round a corner that you hear the first strains of noise coming from what could be sickbay, but is definitely a voice that you recognize as that of Ensign Carnell.
Oh, no, thank you.
You all right there, John?
If you want, I can take the air out of sickbay.
No.
No.
Leave the air in.
We need to get in. Can we get a view of what's going on?
A little bit.
Okay.
We have to be very quiet.
Okay.
But if you want me to, I can. Because it sounds very bad. And I don't know if you'll be able to get him out of there.
Actually, if we do it only briefly, take the air. How long? If we can take the air out of sickbay, only for a period.
I wouldn't trust that we can get it back in time.
That's why I'm asking if we can get it. Yeah. What?
I wouldn't chance it.
Okay. That's fine. Let's get a view.
Adam seems confident in his abilities.
Let's get a view.
And again, as you're crawling forward and forward, and every time John stops ahead of you, you continue to hear the sounds of horrible things happening to your security officer. And John seems to have stopped checking the emitters and is much more interested in listening out for things beyond the screaming. But he is clearly struggling, and mostly is just sort of plugging on forward and checking for signs of the mutants. But every time he turns to look at you, it's very clear that he's hoping that you'll say that you want to stop or you want to turn back. And he has just gone to open his mouth when there is the sort of that telltale vibration in the metal that indicates something else is moving in the vent, and John effectively sort of hits the dirt and covers his head.
Do the same for the moment, especially considering we're not really sure where the hell sickbay is yet, respective to us. So yeah, we could follow the screaming.
And while you probably could get around him, it would definitely involve like crawling on him. Like, it's not impossible. It would be very intimate.
Yes. We don't have that kind of relationship yet.
Yeah. But it's not one of those sorts of events which, Adam, you've definitely been in your life where you're like, oh no, this is a 1 in, 1 out sort of thing. Which fun fact, I'm not likely to put in a game because I'm horribly claustrophobic. Nevertheless, how are you lying? Are you lying like John does with your head down, or are you looking up, or are you?
I'm generally keeping my head down, but possibly dangerously trying to keep an eye out. Like, might be have my head popped up a bit.
Yeah, no, Adam's looking up, like, and as basically as flat as he can get, but still looking up because I want to see what the danger is that's coming at us. I don't want to be just lying face down in the dirt waiting for death. I want to see the death coming.
Hi, Death. Could you both therefore make me stealth checks?
Oh.
0.
Yeah. Ooh.
No, 1. I've got points in this.
I don't, but I rolled a 1 and a 5 in the good way round.
Which means Adam Strange, slightly less subtle, but certainly, whilst your face is up, you haven't learnt the technique of looking without like exposing your whole face to a situation. You are very well practiced at just keep still, just keep very still.
Keep still, and maybe Zal won't notice me this time. Maybe I won't get ambushed out of the fucking vent.
Yeah, Zal's like, I'm not going to notice him. And then out of the vent, Atticus goes, I'll kill you!
Good times.
Captain Athan, however, because of your ability to stay pretty much perfectly flat against the thing, this wasn't so much a roll for being noticed, it was a roll for what you could pick up while remaining stealthed. So when some figures lurched round the corner, Adam despite your desire to see death in the face, you think, I think I've seen enough death for now, and duck back into your little nook. But Captain Athan, you effectively found the best place where you can sort of lie nonchalantly and watch. And you see that these things are very well developed for getting through these vents, that they are not quite crawling, not quite sort of crouching. They are walking using sort of both their hands and one of their legs, which you can hear the joints clicking painfully as they do it, but clearly they've twisted the body into moving much more efficiently through the vents. One of them stops and seems to be listening at one of the pipes, seems confident in something, and presses on towards the sound of the screaming. And between the two of them, there seems to be some sort of exchange, but not quite a conversation, just sort of noises to indicate what might be going on. Nothing that the universal translator is picking up.
Heading to sick bay. Can we do anything to cut them off?
They've gone the way that we were going to go.
We have to go. We have to get closer.
Off we go, I guess.
If you just show us the way, John, that's fine.
I said I'll show you. It's all right. I'll show you. It's fine. It's fine. And pressing his ear against the metalwork on the floor, he takes a few seconds and then sets back to work, crawling forward. You aren't sure whether it's more or less comforting when the sound of the screaming stops.
Who's screaming stops? Carnell's or?
There was only one screaming.
All right, okay.
Wasn't there?
I thought so.
I know that.
That's on me.
I know that sometimes the mutants communicate through screaming, but that this wasn't in this instant.
That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah. This whole time has been echoing with the sound of whatever's happened to Carnell, and there's quiet, and you feel guilty that your initial thought was just that relief that the pressure in your head has gone, but you both know what that could mean. A soft breeze brushes your face. Not quite the lovely fresh outside air, nor the ominous precursor to whatever the vent system is. For John seems confident that the vent system isn't about to chuck horrible fog on you. But you realize as you're around the corner that coming up through an open patch of vent where clearly these two mutants left the system is a little bit of the recycled air from the rooms, and that familiar, not quite familiar, but definitely that sick bay air that comes from a big room that's full of particular sorts of chemicals. And John puts a hand against the wall and is very still.
Mimic him and like wait, and that stay still. Mimic. Move as directed.
He points, but basically flattens himself down against the vents and lets you crawl around him.
Okay.
Which is somewhat awkward, but he is not keen on going much further forward.
Okay,
that's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
See if we can get a look-see first.
Very well. As the two of you crawl towards the raised edge where the vent system sort of spreads into sickbay. You both look over the edge, and you see the unconscious form of Ensign Carnell. It takes a few seconds, but you can definitely see movement in him. But he is a mess. All around the room, all I will say is, and I say this now, what I said last session, there is going to be a bit of graphic horror in this session, but I am not going to belabor any descriptions because, I mean, it's post watershed, but it's pre the watershed of my soul. Nevertheless, you can clearly tell that these are doctors that act like engineers, or engineers masquerading as doctors. And you see a couple of these sort of mutated figures that have been they have their jumpsuits, and then maybe another one over the front that they are sort of peeling away, and that there is a lot of blood. And they seem to be having some sort of dialogue between all of them, or at least they are sharing what happened. But you notice, both of you, that the technology around is, I mean, to you it's very Spartan and barbaric, but it's still future tech. They're not going at him with spanners, but it is a fairly grim sight.
How many are there in there?
That you can see?
Yeah.
4.
Is that including the ones who came past earlier? Can I tell?
Make an investigation check.
No. And let me double check.
Fate point.
No. Yeah, this is good fate. Yeah, no, I've got
This
no
feels like a
investigation.
fate.
Yeah, I'll
We very rarely go through all our fate points unless we're having a fight. So
sure, it's actually about what aspects of taggable has been.
Oh, yeah.
Watched. I definitely have an aspect I can tag, but it's a real good one. However, this is probably going to help define whether or not we go in there. So I'm going to tag a captain should protect their crew. Yeah, like my others aren't really as relevant to this situation.
Sure.
Are you tagging to reroll, or are you tagging to boost?
I need to re-roll because I rolled hot garbage.
Okay.
And I do not roll hot garbage. That is a 4.
In which case, because that is a 4, and because I think that is one of your, it's not your defining aspect, but I think that is one of your more defining aspects. Stupid limitations of language. I'll let you ask 2 questions beyond the fact that 2 of the mutants there seem to be medics of a sort, and the other 2 seem to be the 2 that came through the pipes. So,
okay.
But because you are actively trying to assess the situation, and because Carnell's life is possibly at risk, I'm going to give you a couple more questions because I feel that is necessary.
What weapons or potential improvised weapons do they have? Can I see?
Definitely a number of long things that could be pipes or blades or lasers, or
they could get stuff.
Imagine that you are looking down at a sort of cyberpunk operating theater.
Okay.
It's not quite that advanced, but there's definitely things within grasp that you could imagine could be used for fighting.
But largely they'd be melee weapons.
Oh yes, you don't spot anything that could be described as a phaser.
Okay. Some of these questions are just me trying to figure out what it looks like rather than using my questions. So we're in a vent. Are we quite room? We're high, looking down.
Yeah, you should imagine that you are basically in the.
Okay. Can I see how many entrances there are to this sick bay?
You can see one.
Only one.
But also, that's the angle that you're at. If you wanted to see the other side of the room, you'd have to be on the other side of the hole in the vent, which you can't.
Okay. But do I think that's still the door which those 2 came through?
No, those 2 came through the hole in the ceiling.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. Can I see what look like any kind of computer panels, system access points, anything, especially if theoretically the sick, they may have some systems working.
So what I would like from Strange is a operations roll.
Okay. What is my up score? 2.
Okay. So given that, you've both been looking over from roughly the same vantage point, the back and forth that goes is that Captain Athan, you spy a number of banks of things and bits and computers, and briefly you're looking, thinking, oh, excellent, that's what we need. Strange, you recognize the absolute telltale signs of the ones that have been gone at by the engineers to pick out the bits.
Yeah.
But you do spot just by the door a little glow that you think means that it's one of the few computers still piped into the ship systems.
Okay.
You couldn't be confident how well piped in, but it's
is,
certainly not been stripped for parts.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't take away from your questions, Cather. I just figured that was a thing that definitely Strange would notice.
Yeah. So we don't know if there's another door. System situation is that they have a various variety of weapons. I guess the other thing is almost a logistical thing. How does Carnell look like he's doing if we got in there and even theoretically beat the shit out of all of them? Is he gonna be able to move of his own damn accord? Or because the options are, assuming Carnell doesn't die, Carnell is capable of crawling his own way through the vents. Carnell is not capable of crawling his own way through the vents, and we make a Herculean effort to drag his ass through the vents. Carnell is not capable, and we hole up for a siege situation in sickbay.
You may make me a medicine check. You will get answers regardless of what you roll.
Ooh. I don't think I have any ranks, but that is a 2.
Good. You're good. No, 2 is good.
Mm-hmm.
He looks very pale, and you can tell all of the things that you have command ranks, so you have all the things that to triage for. His breathing is very shallow, he's very pale, he looks a little clammy. You don't know anything about the sort of the integrity of his bones and joints and muscles, but just looking at his overall pallor and demeanor, he doesn't look good.
Okay. But also, he doesn't look good, and they're working on him, and they don't see. I mean, they seem to be like they're having a conversation. Have they been taking any of their medical? Have they been? Sorry, I think you described something about them taking stuff off, or
yeah. They had like sort of basically they were using other overalls as overalls.
Okay. I think then Athan is actually going to gesture to Strange. Well, like one kind of like we wait. Because some of them might leave. It's under. And also see if we can listen.
So yeah.
Try to figure out like the vibe, even if we can't understand. Like watch them kind of behave, and like if they try to, if I jump down now and kick off, there's definitely 4. If they're wrapping up, some of them might leave. Yeah, they might all leave.
They probably won't, but
they probably won't. But it probably isn't going to get worse by waiting.
Hit me with those empathy checks. And also notice checks.
Okay, empathy. Boom.
Empathy, no.
7.
That is it's not actually as hot garbage as I thought it would be. Strange actually has a fair amount
decent
of empathy. It's still -1.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not
the
minus
dice roll was
30.
the dice roll was -4.
Okay.
What was the other one? Notice.
Notice.
Notice was the other one. Yeah. All I heard from Izzy was a noise.
I
That
said
was
R.
neither-
I said R, like I was agreeing with you.
all I heard was a noise. That was neither confirming nor denying. It's just like
R.
on notice it is 5.
Oh, good.
Superb. Well, then it balances out because as Adam Strange is looking at these mutants, aliens talking, the universal translators are picking it up. Okay, that's me told. John is decidedly retreating down the pipe.
Okay.
And Athan, you've been sat here looking over the edge quite some time, scoping the room, taking in the feel of the sick bay, and almost in a very strange way, in that way that when you hear a language that's very similar to your own, you sort of feel like you're following along with it, even if you don't understand any of the words.
Mm-hmm.
You are following along with a conversation that seems to be one of earnest discussion from the medics. The other two seem somewhat impatient, but you don't think about Carnell. But the thing that you take away is very much that there is some sort of involved discussion happening, but you couldn't begin to translate it. But there is certainly a lot more going on than you previously gave them credit for.
Okay.
You even detect that tiny tone that one gets from a medic that's had enough of someone telling them what to do.
I think for the moment, unless Strange reports anything else useful, Athan's plan is to continue to wait, because it would be one thing to jump 4 if I had someone more combat capable than Adam Strange with me.
So anybody
else.
Pebble.
Except for Burov, but going feral in the vents is much more Burov style.
It's far more Burov.
He's there. You look over there. Over they are.
Burov.
Hello. I okay.
Oh, thank fuck, Doctor.
Oh, don't you know I exist in vent space? I'm in all the vents.
You're good. The vent spirit. But yeah, presumably this conversation has to end at some point in time.
It ends, in fact, with one of the non-medics moving out of your sight line for a little bit, and returning to the surgery area with a what looks like a sort of a battered packing box, but they're carrying it with some sort of care. And you see before I'm going to cut your scene, them pulling out what definitely look like 3 hyper sprays.
Don't like that.
Can't hear you, Kat.
I think that's going to be the point where we're going to have to go. It's kind of my vibe, but I appreciate we're cutting away.
I just thought, but because we've been seeing things kind of from Athan's perspective, she focuses in on that, and it's just that kind of
fuck.
Piss.
Piss.
Lieutenant Cayce, you are
Hi.
beneath a device. You have the sleeves of one of your sleeves is rolled up, the other still being slung beneath the name Anders, name Newland even. you're lying on your back. You're running your laser spanner over a join. You tap on the panel above you, and pulling you by your legs, one of the engineers yanks you out from beneath the machine. None too gently, and it certainly tweaks your shoulder, but it's one way of getting about a machine.
That could have been a little bit more gentle, but we are making good progress. I need to now look at the inner workings of this compartment here.
One of them approaches and just pulls the metal plating off, that you think looks like it had been nailed in place by one of them earlier. They are not using sort of, we screw the plate in, then we unscrew the plate. They're definitely like, we hammered the thing in and then we unhammer it.
Wonderful. I'm also a big believer in it doesn't matter the state of the chassis, it's what's inside that counts. And
reaching out, the first engineer shoves you with what could be playfulness, but it hurts. But it's definitely, you said something sassy. She shoves you full force into the machine. It's banter.
Like, anytime he isn't looking at them, it's just like cringe, agony, just gritted teeth, tears. Just gotta work through the pain. Get this thing operational.
Okay, so I would like you to make me an engineering check and then a science check.
The engineering check is at a 4. Science check is at a 5. My die are persistently cancelling each other out.
Okay, so you know with the 4 that this is going to take you hours at this rate, because you are basically trying to summon magic from nothing. Even if you were back on the Iskandar, this would take you maybe a few hours from scratch, but you'd also, much less time if you had a team, much less time if you had Adam. And also you are working with the reclaimed parts of reclaimed parts. You think you might be hitting something of a wall with what you can achieve. And you sort of, you're thinking that, and you're doing a couple of diagnostics on a couple of circuits, and just sat in the gap where you were pushed in before, you can see the big eyes of the person who has sort of been your handler in all this, while the other has been going around with the blowtorch a couple of times while you're in the machine, which is a little scary.
This is going to take a lot of time. Now, I didn't come here alone. Any assistance from the others that are here, they will be willing to help. And she
slams her hand into the panel, which makes all the little panels inside reverberate in a gently unpleasant way.
As you say, back to work.
Reaching in, she grabs you by your good shoulder and sort of pulls you a little way out, and seems to like sort of loom over you, like this is how she is content to talk to you. What need?
My team. More parts.
What parts?
he will start always kind of gesturing so there's context. Just start giving a shopping list, even if it's just the three most vital things for now. He'll list those off.
And again, as if not trusting you to do it yourself, she puts an arm sort of under your shoulder and just lifts you out of the machine.
Oh.
And one hand still quite firmly on your shoulder, much, much taller than you. She pushes you out of the room.
Should I wait here? Or...
No, she's coming with you.
Oh,
She's
okay.
basically like steering you out of the room.
I go where I'm told.
It is unsettling how many more of these mutants you pass as you are steered through the hallway, all of them eyeing you with a faintly disdainful look.
Diplomatic immunity.
I'm with her.
There will be kind of like, I think there's either one shot of a
Are you with her? We hate her. She sucks.
Oh, who's that? Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia, you've adopted another weirdo.
Another ugly pet.
And there is a point where she reaches a door, and out front of which is an enormous figure who is definitely wielding something awful looking. And the two of them have what can only be described as a stand-up blazing row.
I will be as small and unobtrusive as possible.
Let's get a will check from you, Casey boy.
It's not my best roll. Oh, my will's quite high. That's a 4.
Then you are the pride of Starfleet in your ability to stand there while two people who could crush your bones have a screaming
domestic. I don't piss and shit in fear.
Talanta will be so proud. And it is only after this full-on screaming match is done that the taller figure stalks off down the corridor, and your engineer shoves you through the double doors, which almost don't open in time, but then they do, and you see a lot of the dismantled parts of your runabout.
It's a oh.
Here.
I see that. I'll get hunting. And a little miserably, as just start picking through the parts. Have they been ordered in any particular way? Oh, no. Good.
Actually, it's interesting. Some of them have, but not in a way that makes sense to you.
Cool. Like, I can see an abstract familiarity of shape. It's like, okay, great. Cool. But, like, that's a cup, and that's a conductor, and, okay, I'll start sifting through. I will make plaintive noises whenever there's something like a big panel that I need moved out of the way, that I can't do with my little arm broken.
It takes her a few seconds. And at one point, she actually full on like pokes your broken arm.
Ow.
As if trying to figure it out.
Yes, hurts.
Why?
I don't know. I think someone else. Someone else did this to me.
Why?
I don't know.
You gotta shove. You gotta shove, but I don't know. but then she moves the panel anyway. And then shoves you at whatever it was you were fixing. She thinks she's helping you.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm taking all of this in stride. I will happily be engineer handled in any direction that she's decided she wants me to be in. Because she's mostly right. And yeah, I'll continue my hunt.
And at some point, as you are rummaging and the scene transitions ever so slightly and you're still rummaging, again, she has this habit of the way she's shot. She always comes into frame from a kind of unsettling angle, and her eyes are very big. And she stares at your sling and pokes again, but this time she's poking where the embroidery is.
And mine says Newland, doesn't it?
Yeah. You.
Oh no, I'm not Newland. I'm Cayce. Oh, Sam.
Sam.
And you?
No.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
She's pointing at the Newland.
I found it.
Found.
Yes. You found our runabout. Quite thoroughly.
And then she very abruptly stands up and leaves the room.
Oh my God.
And you are left alone with the remnants of your runabout for an indeterminate period of time.
I'm going to die.
I was trying to ask, hey you, peppy Starfleet science officer, what do you do? I think I have a meltdown.
No, there's a moment of just like wide-eyed, whew. But this is better than being stuck in a closet hearing a fellow officer suffer. So I have a job. I can focus on the job. The job might earn me favor with the people that are marauding around this facility, and that's all.
Trying to reverse Stockholm syndrome yourself. I like it.
And then she'll love me as a son, and we'll go on adventures in the caves.
And once again, just intercutting timeline-wise in a sort of hoppy fashion, we cut back to Captain Athan and Ensign Strange, who have made a decision based on the horrible medical devices that they have witnessed beneath them. And it is as you have made the symbols, the sort of signs to one another, that's like we're gonna do this, right? That you hear what we, the audience, recognize as the sound of a blazing row going on a few rooms over. And it is a full-on sudden screaming screaming match between two people, and even with low empathy rolls, which I'm not going to make you roll, you hear the you recognize the sound of two people having an argy-bargy, and leaving the two medics to their own medical devices, the two figures who were non-medics leave out of the door with a kind of
We're still going.
I think this is probably the best chance we've got, to be honest, if they're busy.
Now or never, then.
Yes.
So you two get to narrate your opening salvos, because this is a complete surprise. So tell me how the two of you coordinate.
I think what Athan will try to have happen is if we can like pop the ideal will be pop the hatch.
If it helps, the hatch has already been popped.
Or popped completely.
They
even better.
They left it open because I think people are coming and going.
Even better.
Okay,
In which
even better.
case, Athan will actually gesture to Strange to stay for the moment stay in the vent and cover from above.
Oh, right, okay.
That's not high. No, fuck that. But we can't both get a line of fire easily from the vent. I can't think, and also that gives no flexibility if they just move.
Yeah.
But if Strange stays from above, to rain
I'll do
from above,
covering fire from the vents.
Strange is like, stay in the vents. Hurrah!
Ooh, lovely. I love a vent.
Well, Athan will drop down. Insofar as Athan can convey this to Strange, it would be great if he gave covering fire, like as she drops, and then she can move to cover and clear, and can summon Strange down if they move out of his line of fire, or if we need more backup. But it gives us a bit more multi-directional points of attack.
He will do his best at providing covering fire.
Sure, but this is also a reason because, at the very least, stay in the fucking vent, Adam. Don't need saving.
Out, yes, stay out the way. And this is when he gets grabbed in the vents. But we'll start with Athan drops out the vent. Strange stays in the vent like a good boy.
Yeah,
where he belongs.
Then I shall have a fight or agility. You're trying to engage them in a sort of combat, but you are definitely trying to yeet yourself out of a vent.
I'm trying to, I guess, in athletics to not.
Athletics, not agility. Yeah.
To not suck.
Yeah, roll athletics to not suck.
I get a +4.
That does not suck indeed. In fact, once again, you managed to do the full
combat
slide roll phaser. Feel pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, you want a phaser's roll for me to go pew pew.
I would like that very much. Yes.
I will give you a pew pew roll. -1.
Well,
this is why you're in the vent, Adam.
Do you have an aspect like this is why you're in the vent, Adam, that you can
make up for everything you've ever done wrong? Yes, you do. You have several quite good.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
do you want to prove why you still belong in Starfleet, or is the crew your family?
Yeah, I do. No, I want to prove why I still belong in Starfleet. I'm gonna save the crew as my family one for another time, I think. But yeah, I mean,
it's once a session. If you need to keep tagging, keep tagging.
That's true. But no, I'm gonna prove why I still belong in Starfleet and try and not let the captain down. And I'm just gonna take the boost on that because I have no points in phasers.
Then I'm saying that's enough that you can shoot.
So I'm gonna boost it from a -1 to a +1.
Yeah, you shoot towards one of the medics. You're not certain whether or not you hit them, but it's enough that they are suppressed and that they go down under the hospital gurney. And also, you do not shoot Carnell. Basically back up to Athan because you had a little surprise of Rooney. I'm folding Stranger Surprise of Rooney into Ama Rooney.
That's first step one is I'm assuming we've got gurneys and shit, and I'd like to if I couldn't land and immediately roll behind at least something that's some cover, I would like to move to cover shooting as I go.
So unlike the normal layout of a sick bay, this has definitely been sort of spread out so that there's one main area. But what that means is there's more stuff in heaps.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to find immediate cover that suits you, but definitely enough that you can, if you stay low, you can get to.
But on the other hand, they don't have ranged weapons, so to be fair, actually, I can probably just start shooting.
Make me a faces roll then.
I remember that they don't have try to maintain a certain amount of control of the area of combat with my shooting, if that makes sense, but also to shoot them. Okay, that wasn't as good on the dice as I'd hoped, but that is still gone. That's strange. 4. That is still a 4 on the I rolled a 6 first, and I was very excited, and then I rolled a 5, so I was less excited. But that's sort of
Yeah, odds or evens.
evens.
Mike, roll me a d6.
3.
That's
3.
not evens.
No, that's fine though. Nevertheless, what you manage to do is you shoot one pretty squarely in the chest, and they go spinning over the gurney that they were taking shelter behind. Under, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They go into the legs of the gurney.
Mhm.
Come on with it.
Oh shit! Mutant gurney ninjas.
And the last standing one, who is cradling the box of hypo sprays, seems is doing the best they can. So it will be an opposed roll, whichever of you is phasering him, which I think is Adam.
Yeah.
It's done.
But it will be an opposed agility roll because he is actively trying to access Carnell without.
-2.
Oh gosh.
Adam.
Yeah,
Is the crew your family, Adam?
I don't think even that's going to save this one. This is an opposed check.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
I'm not burning a fate point on an opposed check that I
Nevertheless,
cannot win.
and at -2, just a second. Mike, roll me another d6.
1.
I haven't shot anybody in the head for a while.
Been a while. You aren't certain again, but as you shoot and it your phaser blast ricochets off the edge of the hospital bed, there is a definite twitch from Carnell's leg as if a spark of something might have hit him. But he's unconscious, so it's not like it's the worst thing in the
Probably
world.
not important.
Probably doesn't need that kneecap.
Just put it back.
Since things are coming and going as they will, I think an athletics check from you, Captain Athan, since you're going to be trying to get off another quick succession shot.
So athletics to shoot them.
No, not for the shooting. It's because you're trying to oppose to do a thing.
Yes. Critical success.
Then you are able to get a shot off before they're able to make contact with the hyperspray.
Nice. Thank you, dice.
Oh.
Okay. Shall I phase? I will phase it then.
If
Sorry.
you wish to.
Yes. No, I do. Hey. The dice now finally start to fucking behave. That is a 5 with the phasers.
In which case, once again, square in the chest. It's been a while since Captain Athan has been in any sort of firefight, and you have been rigorously training forever. So basically, you've fallen into full-on pew, 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 pew. Yeah.
They ain't Jemadar.
They hit Jemadar. And this unarmed medic goes flying into the
Fuck him.
flying over the gurney. Mike, roll me another d6.
5.
And the 3 hypersprays go scattering out of the sort of crate that he was holding. You hear the sort of distinctive tinkle of them across the floor, and the room is quiet.
Gesture Strange down.
Carefully climb out of the vent.
And Athan will approach Carnell, and as she's heading towards Carnell, say, check entrance points, check systems, check anything you can about the place. Because I'm assuming that we both suck at medicine, but Strange is the one who's most likely to be able to at least secure the room.
Then from Captain Athan, I would just like a quick medicine check before I get on to room checkery. +2. Oh, then you can tell from a quick check, breathing, conscious, definitely marked and in some places burned, but not in a way that you're not super well versed in it, but you do understand a little bit about what it looks like when someone's been tortured. this isn't that,
Yeah.
but you're not certain what it is.
They've done weird shit, but it's not like fuck your fingernail kind of.
Yeah. They've clearly gone in and something horrid has happened, but it's not designed only to have hurt.
Okay.
And sort of as you're looking and you go, you're thinking, you seem, and Carnell stirs ever so slightly in your presence. Adam, you move from to look to observe the bigger door, which has the panel next to it, the one that people have been coming and going from.
Mm-hmm.
And as you cross the sort of the room, stepping past the two slumped unconscious medics who are over to one side, and stepping over a number of the tools that have scattered to the floor, there is a moment that you've come to recognize in your heart as the moment before things go fucked.
It's just called Adam Strange's life.
Where all of
it's why he's so familiar with it.
Where all of the air goes quiet, and then suddenly the door is kicked in, almost off its hinges, and you see a massive mutant holding what can only be described as a very nasty improvised weapon, who stands there and looks you dead in the eyes, Adam, and just goes, no. And I think, my lovelies, that might be a fantastic place for us to leave it for this week.
Oh man, this bad guy's gonna need like the two-handed
with Adam going, we're not using this season's S-bomb. It's
no.
Oh,
he just gets as far as like, oh, and then it cuts. Like you don't even get the start of the of the swearing. It's
having spent his time arguing with Casey's engineer, this guy decides he's going to go kick in Casey's boyfriend's head. He just has it out for your engineers, Casey.
Shame. But it's okay, I've got a new engineer. She's the light of my life.
I'm invincible.
She just gets you.
She gets me places by shoving me.
The band. And so, ladies and gentlemen, both and neither, that has been episode 2 of Star Trek Iskandar, Axiom. What has happened? If you want to know.
In space,
you shall have to join us next Tuesday for the next gripping installment of Star Trek Iskandar, Axiom. The big guy with the big stick.
This is bananas.
No, it's big stick.
Well, I guess bye everybody.
Oh yeah, bye. Okay, bye.
Do you want to
hasty. I just thought I wanted to say hi. Like, I hope you're all doing great. Well done. Thanks to you guys. It's just some good role play. Now go.
Thanks.
Go.
Peace out.